In the frost-locked valleys of the European Alps, the longest nights of the year bring a silence that is both absolute and dangerous. This is a landscape where the scale of the mountains dictates the terms of survival. When the blizzards descend, the isolation is complete. In these lightless voids, the wind carries sounds that shouldn't exist in the wild. This is the Krampus. It stands 7 feet tall, a bipedal hybrid draped in a dense, ink-black pelt. This isn't the sanitized figure of modern pop culture. It is a biological nightmare designed for the crushing cold. Before it is seen, it is heard, the rhythmic clanking of heavy iron chains cutting through the howl of the storm. It is a sound that serves as a grim warning for the villages tucked into the valley floors. While most apex predators hunt to satisfy a biological hunger, the Krampus ignores the livestock and the stores of winter grain. Its path leads directly to the thresholds of human homes, where it occupies a terrifying niche, enforcing social order by hunting those who have failed the year's moral trials. To withstand sub-zero blizzards, the creature is built with a muscular, barrel-chested torso. Its coarse, matted fur smells of wet wool and sulfur, providing insulation that makes it indifferent to the most extreme conditions. A profile of the head reveals a set of highly specific adaptations. Deep-set, burning eyes are positioned to track movement in low-light storms, while a long, lolling tongue and 2 massive corrugated horns allow it to navigate and dominate the frozen heights. This diagram shows its asymmetrical limbs. A cloven goat hoof provides snow-piercing traction, while a clawed, human-like foot grips uneven rock. This uneven anatomy forces a limping gait. By shifting its center of gravity with each stride, it balances its immense mass on treacherous slopes. Every terrifying feature is a survival mechanism. The Krampus is an organism evolutionarily refined for high-altitude dominance. 18th century Austrian records treat these sightings as forensic data. They describe a creature that utilizes the cover of twilight and heavy snow to infiltrate villages, moving through the drifts with a silence that belies its massive size. In the mid-19th century, Bavarian accounts shifted toward the higher altitudes. Reports emerged of a horned man stalking isolated shepherd huts, moving between the most remote homesteads when the winter was at its most brutal. In one report, a witness described looking toward their window to find a weathered, goat-like face peering through the frost. It stood there silently, expelling thick, steaming clouds of breath against the glass while it watched those inside. It carries the tools of a professional extractor. A bundle of birch branches bound with iron wire is used to subdue, while a massive wicker basket on its back serves as the grim vessel for those it takes from the mountainside. When analyzed together, these historical sightings reveal a consistent, calculated hunting pattern designed to exploit the isolation of winter. This cultural footprint predates modern memory, reaching back to pre-Christian Alpine paganism. Long before it was a holiday tradition, it was a biological reality of the Germanic winter. Over centuries, the entity was integrated into local custom as the dark, punitive counterpart to St. Nicholas. On Krampusnacht, December 5th, the creature emerges to enforce the community's social order through fear. In a landscape where selfishness could lead to the death of a village, the myth served a survival purpose. The Krampus became the physical reminder that greed and greed alone would invite the shadow of the mountains into your home. Following a period of suppression in the 20th century, Alpine traditions saw a resurgence. This revival transformed the Krampus from a localized village bogeyman into a documented cultural and biological anomaly. The search for the shadow has now moved from the hearth to the field. Researchers look beyond the masks in the festivals, seeking the origins of a creature that has occupied these passes for a millennium. Whether viewed as a biological relic or a manifestation of the winter's toll on the human psyche, the Krampus remains a reminder of a simple truth. In the deep snow, nature always demands order. Hidden deep within the jagged peaks of Central Europe lie dozens of quiet, picturesque Alpine valleys. If you ask someone today about the Krampus, they'll probably point you here, the Krampuslauf. It's a vibrant, torch-lit winter parade that takes over the streets. Thousands gather to watch locals march through the cold wearing incredibly elaborate costumes, heavy animal furs, and terrifying hand-carved masks. To the crowds drinking mulled wine on the sidelines, the event is a manufactured nightmare. It's humans playing dress-up to keep an old piece of folklore alive for entertainment. But far away from the town squares, a very different kind of investigation is quietly taking place, a heavily documented biological search. The modern origin of this hunt traces back to a remote, high-altitude section of the Gastein Valley, where a team of mountain climbers were forced into a limestone cave to ride out an unexpected storm. They weren't alone in there. Huddled in the back of the cave was a massive, 7-foot-tall biological entity. The climbers observed massive, naturally curved horns and a heavy, asymmetrical gait, accompanied by a potent animal musk that saturated the cavern air. After the creature retreated deeper into the darkness, the climbers found something else left behind, a discarded bundle of birch branches that had completely petrified into solid stone. That combination of biological markers and anomalous petrified wood forced independent researchers to stop treating the Krampus as a campfire story. It sparked a formal investigation into a relict Alpine species. The evidence file gets even thicker when you look at the winter of 1972. A veteran forest ranger was patrolling the Berchtesgaden National Park. Walking along a ridge in the dead of night, he locked eyes with a towering silhouette. You could see its massive chest heaving, exhaling thick clouds of steam into the freezing air. The ranger got a clear look at its anatomy. It had a distinctly caprine, or goat-like, facial structure, framed by deeply luminous, burning orange eyes. Startled, the creature bolted. As it vaulted over a boundary line, it snagged a large tuft of coarse, dark brown fur on a barbed wire fence. That single tuft became critical trace evidence. When sent to a lab, the cellular structure completely defied any local DNA classification on record. They couldn't match it to a bear, a wolf, or a mountain goat. The 1972 sample gave scientists their first physical, forensic proof that an unclassified entity was navigating the mountains. Decades later, technology caught up with the legend. The Himalayan Alpine Connection expedition launched a massive survey, focusing entirely on the extreme high-altitude dead zones where nothing is supposed to survive. They collected consistent reports from isolated elderly shepherds of a bipedal creature scaling vertical rock faces with impossible speed, accompanied by a low-frequency booming shriek that echoed off the valley walls. In April 2026, the investigation shifted to aerial tracking, using a high-tech drone from the CFC to scan a treacherous limestone pass. The resulting 4K footage captured a brief but unmistakable flash of the entity. You can clearly see a matted black pelt and massive curved horns maneuvering rapidly through the steep, rocky terrain below. This image documents physical evidence recovered exactly where the drone spotted the creature. It's a dense, tangled mass of fibers and organic matter left in the entity's path. When analyzed under a spectrometer, researchers found yellow organic traces embedded inside. These traces contain a terrifying, completely unidentified necrotic agent, a chemical that actively decays living tissue. We now have aerial visual confirmation and anomalous chemical trace evidence aligning perfectly. A massive, horned giant is actively inhabiting the lightless voids of the Alpine peaks. The acoustic recordings and those toxic fibers tell a cohesive story. They outline a living, breathing, relict apex predator. And yet, right at the base of these dangerous mountains, thousands of people still crowd into the town squares every winter to watch a parade. The locals strap heavy metal cowbells around their waists, mimicking the sounds of a creature they treat as a quaint fictional fairy tale. In a way, all of this fiery theater acts as a psychological shield. It's much easier to celebrate a monster in the brightly lit streets than to acknowledge what's actually hiding out there in the cold. Because far above the crowds, the music, and the mulled wine, the real world is silent and incredibly hostile. Up there, the genuine biological entity is looking down at the flickering lights of the valley. While the festivals bridge the gap between folklore and the modern world, the data from the peaks confirms that the horned punisher remains the master of the Alpine night.